So firstly, I want to start with the business message behind Cloud Pak for applications. So as we know, businesses are now no longer able to afford these large, complex, and IT-centric application modernization projects. So they not only need to achieve their cost savings, but they also want to extend the value of their existing applications and those existing investments that are also aligned to their business priorities. So Cloud Pak for Application offers an end-to-end enterprise application development and modernization solution. And this is designed to run anywhere, whether it's on-prem, on cloud, and we're able to continually modernize the existing applications and then develop new cloud native apps at a faster rate. And this is all while reducing costs and maximizing the ROI with using pre-integrated compliance and visibility. And this is going to be across hybrid environments. So when it comes to today's business climates, we're looking at modern application development and delivery. And this is able to address those key challenges that a lot of businesses are facing today when moving towards their digital transformation. So that being a value prop behind Cloud Pak for Applications is we have an enterprise-ready, containerized software solution. And this is to modernize those applications and then, of course, develop new cloud-native apps. And these are able to run on Red Hat OpenShift, which comes at a more faster and secure rate when it comes to moving into a cloud-native architecture. And I also want to cover a few of these solution highlights as well. So first of all, it comes with a Java EE platform or a Java Enterprise Edition platform. And this is an open source technology. So this being, we're able to allow the simplification of a cloud native app. And we're able to easily manage that with that open source tool. And that's going to be across those hybrid environments as well. And that's going to be followed by our mobile app development framework. That being, we now have an optimized framework. And this is going to help the runtime for those cloud native and traditional developments go at a quicker rate. And then that also lead us to accelerators for cloud native development. So pre-integrated tools within the Cloud Pak for Applications gives us those accelerators to help us move into this cloud native architecture. And this also comes with a modernization and transformation guide. So when it's coming to Cloud Pak, we're looking at deployment and how we would get that into their environment. They're of course going to need some guidance on how to settle this in and digest all of the information that comes within Cloud Pak. Of course, being whether how we can move their stuff to the containers with Kubernetes, or just actually modernizing their applications and putting them into the hybrid environment. And then with all four of these listed, we want to also understand that these are designed to run anywhere. Again, as I said, we're looking at public, private, on-prem, all with these pre-integrated system tools are all helping sync with Red Hat. And then they also unify the Kubernetes platform that it's based on. And then to top it off, this is all open source, allowing you to leverage any type of application development you might need. And next, I want to cover the three-step application cycle. So that being, we're first able to unleash, and that being we want to unleash new cloud-native apps. And this is faster while having less risk. And with this three-step application cycle, we'll see that we also are able to unlock new value within those applications. And this is through the continuous modernization within the company as they get started on their journey to AI or journey into the Cloud Pak cycle. And that's going to be followed by optimizing the existing applications. And this is to, again, lower development and maintenance costs. And we are able to figure out exactly how to maintain those by the optimization of the pre-integrated tools within this Cloud Pak solution. So that being, I want to touch on the three-step application cycle as we get to our entry points and use cases, as each of these sections are going to be having some steps to consider and a few use cases to use that we can bring up in conversations as we hunt for opportunities and find clients that are looking for a solution similar to this. So next is going to be our sales approach. This is a very similar sales approach to all of the other Cloud Paks as well. We're going to be starting with the first four: prospecting, engaging, progressing, and then of course closing. But the one step that is not in here is the learning step, which is what we just covered. We had to learn about the product before we're able to understand who's able to be open for these opportunities and how they can fit in within this containerized solution. So as we discussed what exactly Cloud Pak was, now we want to prospect. That being, we are going to hunt for those opportunities, account planning, account mapping, and then tailoring scripts and emails to make sure that we can bring the conversation to life. And by that, we want to bring that to life so the prospects, through all this targeted messaging, social promotion, and all these various bite-sized pieces of information, are able to be conveyed and understandable. That way they can digest what they're getting into. So a few steps to consider as we prospect: we're looking at the target audience. And this is whether we're using content that we have here at Cresco, or we're looking at current quarter sales plays, and of course, all the assets and infographics we have, and that's to slice and dice within your territory. We also want to gather your account and contact lists applicable to who you are targeting, and we're going to use that to utilize multi-touch prospecting content. That being, we want to push out messages far and fast to whether it's a white space or a current customer as well. And lastly, we're going to provide the value and credibility through various IBM assets, Cresco assets, and these are all created by these subject matter experts in these fields. And after we consider what we're going to prospect, we want to look at the engagement. So this is where we build the value and actually create the opportunity. So once you start the identification of a prospect, we want to illustrate the value prop. And this is going to be on the discovery call. And we want to understand what they're doing in their current environment and how we can take them into this new environment. So we want to scope out their existing infrastructure. And this is to understand their use cases as well as their journey into the cloud. We want to present the clients the business benefits and measurable ROI stats from the solution they're about to be receiving, which in this case is Cloud Pak for Applications. So I also have a few more steps to consider to engage with the clients. We're looking at preparing conversation starters, key questions to ask, and then of course our introductory presentations. And this is all prior to the first discovery call. And this is to really qualify your opportunities to understand who you're going for, how you're going to target them, and how you want to personalize your content specifically for this opportunity or client. And then we can also consider engaging with IBM teams such as you and other reps as well, whether we use IBM Garage, Expert Labs, Cresco Labs, and this is all to help the client address their most urgent business needs. And then again, we can accelerate their IBM Cloud Pak adoption. And then based off that discovery call, say everything goes well, we want to follow up with those meaningful assets. We want to show them infographics, continue the conversation, make sure we're still in touch with these prospective clients. That way we don't lose the opportunity. And next we want to progress. So this is where we again provide the value and then of course the demonstration capabilities. So this is where we prep and we want to present the clients the measurable business impact. And that's going to be from the Cloud Pak for Applications solution. So we want to be absolutely specific as possible. We're going to try and use numbers as benchmarks, tests, and case studies and success stories when it's possible to use to show that it's been successful. And as for steps to consider as we progress, we're looking at presentation templates. We're looking at sample demos for all these meetings with whether it's a stakeholder in the company or the client on the end user side. So as we prepare the demo, we want to be specific to their use cases if they provide any. We want to make sure we tap in all those use cases and show that it's able to solve any of their business problems when it comes to an application development standpoint. And then of course, after the demo, you want to follow up with technical assets. These assets are again to continue the conversation after your first demo. And then of course, as the step says, we want to progress the opportunity to the closing stages. So that being, you could schedule workshops, consulting, training, and then we can get to the last step, which is proposing and closing. That being, we want to understand the financing when it comes to that and the implementation plan or project plan that we're going to use after we get the solution intact, price quotes out, they're looking like they want to go on to this journey, going into a containerized solution of Cloud Pak for Applications. So a few steps to consider as well when we're proposing and closing. We're going to review the resources we have used, and within this section, we're going to equip ourselves with all the tools necessary to close, which is understanding your financing and implementation plan as well. We also want to engage with workshops and strategy shops using these to accelerate the deployment of the Cloud Paks within this account. And then of course, lastly, you want to familiarize yourself with the materials required to successfully close it. And this could be pricing plays for any quarter of the year. And here are a few entry points and use cases we have here. So one of the first key challenges for our cloud native apps. So they're looking to create innovative cloud native solutions faster, and they want to benefit from the scale of deployment. So we also want to infuse security and operational insights. So an entry point we can use for unleashing the cloud native apps that they're capable of, we're looking to differentiate the digital experiences apart from competitors. And this is by using cloud native applications. So if they want to build a new cloud native app, they can use supported runtimes that we have with the power of their choice of how they want to run it within Cloud Pak for Applications. They're also able to adopt new ways of working. So with skills and competencies, they're able to respond to customers in real time. That way they can deliver responsive experiences and then implement different technology as well. And lastly, pre-integrated automation empowers the teams using this solution to deliver and keep their applications up to date and be notified if anything is going wrong with those applications. And what they can also do is they can build and deliver secure microservices and containers. That being, we're looking to build those microservices at a customizable end-to-end encryption and authentication. And we also want to include the vulnerability, scanning, and verification features within these containers. That way they understand all the compliance behind building these applications. And within the building of microservices and containers, we also are able to connect easily to the built-in access management, and then we also have a single sign-on feature that enables signal server certificates for the microservices and enable transport security. That way it's directly between the teams and they understand all the compliance and regulations that come with building and developing these applications as well. And lastly, we want to leverage the flexibility, the portability, and security of this platform to deploy and of course scale new applications. So with that, we can transform, we can run, and we can also manage those critical workloads, again, anywhere. Private cloud, public cloud, on-prem is fully available with this containerized solution. And then coming with an open source environment, this lets us use this operating system all the way through the complete platform. We're able to adjust and tweak based on this open source environment with the Java EE application that's embedded within this Cloud Pak. And we want these applications to have trust. You're able to manage these containers with Kubernetes. That being, we want to be able to manage and understand how we can leverage the platform, and then of course deploy new applications aside from our existing ones. And as for the second one, we're looking for an entry point to unlock the application value that we spoke about in the 3-step cycle. So an entry point we can use is we're going to accelerate transformation with this modernization guidance that we offer within the Cloud Pak application. And this assists all the architects that transform these apps or monoliths, whether it's a large corporate structure, it could be invisible to some people. So we want to be able to have them see those microservices and understand that they can see everything, and visibility is a very important part when it comes to deploying and maintaining these applications. So that being, we want to assess, we want to analyze, and of course we want to modernize the Java Enterprise Edition application. And this is using the guidance that came along with the Cloud Pak for application. We're able to help them go through their modernization journey to the cloud. We also want to learn the application behavior. So that being, we can take business logic, and then we are able to then identify an optimal microservice that we can create. And then of course, candidates that fit best for the modernization stage. And secondly, we want to be able to identify which applications are going to be the easiest to move into these containers. So that being, we're going to take these and categorize these apps, whether it's a simple, medium, or complex based on migration complexity. We're going to categorize those and then take them one at a time, making sure that we can take the simple ones, transfer them over into the containers, and then we can move towards the medium and more complex applications as well. That being, we also want to deploy these applications as containers anywhere as well, on-prem, public, private, and this is to gain efficiency in the resource use. We're also looking at maintainability, and then of course to speed to production. And lastly, we're also going to look at speeding up agility and cross collaboration with those runtimes. And these runtimes are all pre-configured. So we're looking at flexibility and enterprise grade support. So with that support, we get access to the entire IBM portfolio within WebSphere. We also have access to the pre-configurable runtimes from either IBM and Red Hat for either an on-prem container-based solution, or if they want to do a cloud-native hybrid environment, we're able to keep on-prem and on cloud as well. And third, we want to look at the optimization of these applications. So once they're set in stone and they're built, we want to then again optimize it. We want to support the current investments while you optimize incrementally on these mission critical applications. So that being, we can run existing workloads. When we run existing workloads, we have the support behind the Cloud Pak for applications to stay on the course of the key priorities that have been set by the business decision makers. And then secondly, on that point, we want to modernize at your pace. So while we modernize at your pace, we are also able to commit this broader transformation to fit your goals, to fit your data, your cloud architecture, and we want to have this in an agile environment so we understand where something might have went wrong. We don't want to go ahead and do that again. We want to review and continue on with an optimal solution. And for the second point, we're looking to achieve an average of around 160% ROI after 3 years. And this is all including the scalability, security, and of course the low overhead of having an IBM WebSphere Liberty. So that being, we want to see increases in server speed. We can use that flexibility to let the developers actually increase their productivity around 25%. And next, we also want to simplify the administration, and we're also able to lower the overhead cost of these infrastructures by around 30%. And tying those two together, we have the enterprise level security. One of the most important parts we're looking at is the security of their applications, whether it's coming from their data, applications, any type of cloud pack has this security capability, as well as integrated management, administrative tooling, and this is all going to ensure compliance and regulations within that company. And as for maximizing IT budgets, this is where we can reallocate these additions anytime. So with the right size reallocation and modernization between various WebSphere editions, we can then create a fully modular and easy to consume pricing approach. So this is really a pay for what you need. If you were to think of it as a smartphone, let's say Twitter is your cloud pack for applications and Facebook is your cloud pack for data. You're able to then tune into that certain cloud pack, and then you're able to consume what you need. And then if you were to close the app, you're then done with that for the time being. Hence, we're going to pay for what you need. We also offer trade-up programs to reuse those existing capital expenditures for a potentially lower cost or lower total cost of ownership. And to cover the bullet points on the left here, these are actually a few competitive differentiators that we want to use when we're having these prospecting conversations. So we're looking at being able to assess, modernize, and build cloud native apps. We want to, again, manage apps end-to-end across clouds and then have that governance within it. We want to be able to provision and monitor the performance of all of these multi-cluster applications. And then as we mentioned before, we also want to ensure the security across those multi-cloud environments. That being, we can also innovate with advanced series of public cloud platforms, and this can include Watson, IoT, blockchain, and quantum. We can use these to integrate all together and keep their journey to the cloud a bit seamless.